What's going on, everybody? This is Mr. Diamond, and we are looking at example problems for combustion reactions. Now, you will notice that we are given hexane and then just combusts. There's no other thing here. So it only really gives us a single element. However, our single element is C6H14, and it uses the phrase combusts. Combusts, burning, catches in the flame, is lit on fire. All of those are examples that let you know you're dealing with a combustion reaction. So we know that we're going to have hexane. We know that that's the only thing that's given to us. That's C6H14. And because it's a combustion reaction, the rest of the equation is actually super easy. As soon as you know it's combustion, you know that it is plus O2 arrow CO2 plus H2O. And if you're wondering, Diamond, how do I know that? Like, you didn't explain any of those pieces. That's because there's nothing to explain. If it's a combustion reaction, if it says combusts, you have a CH and possibly O as your first piece, and then it's plus O2 gives CO2 and H2O. Every time. You don't have to cross, you don't have to guess, you don't have to do any weird things. If it's combustion, that piece there tells you all of this information. And then all you have to do is balance the problem. So we start with the C's. That is my first tip for you. And these are ones where you especially want to use pencil or write very small in pen and then rewrite it bigger whenever you're actually finished. Sorry, I smudged that a little bit. We're going to start with the C's because they're only in one place over here. There's 6 C's, so I'll need to put a 6 there. Then we do the H's. There are 2 H's and 14 H's, so I'll need to put a 7 over here. Then you try to do the O's. So in this case, there is 6 times 2 is 12, plus 7 is 19. Now, 19 and 2 do not go together. So when you run into that problem, when you run into a situation where you cannot continue because of having an odd number that mixed with something that won't cross with it, like if we would have had 15 H's over here instead of 2, or in this case where we have 19 O's instead of, or crossed with 2, those won't go into each other very easily. If that's the case, you go back to every number and you double it. So we had assumed this was 1, we're going to double that. This was 6, we're going to turn that to 12. This was 7, we're going to turn that to 14, and then you try again. Make sure you also put a 2 in front of the first thing, because when you were balancing, you were assuming that there was only one of it. So now we have 2 times 6 is 12 C's, 2 times 14 is 28 H's. Now we have 12 times 2 is 24, plus 14 is 38. 38 is an even number. There's 2 O's. It is times 19. Which feels very big. That seems like a wrong number, but if we check 2, 19, 12, 14, nothing goes into any of those numbers, so it is correct. And it does make a little bit more sense because 19O2, oxygen is just very common. There's a whole lot of it around you at any given time, and then you're taking this big chunk and breaking it into a whole bunch of smaller chunks, so that also kind of makes sense. And then we are good. That's all we've got to do. Okay, going to the next one. Same idea. Hexanol burns in air. It gives us hexanol, which is C6H13OH. But then it says burns in air. Even though it only gives us one element, the fact that it's burning means we know we have to have oxygen for a fire to happen. And it's going to make CO2, and it's going to make H2O. And then we balance, same way as last time. We do C's first, there are 6 of them. We do H's next, there's 14, and then there's 2, so we'll need to put a 7 there. Then we do O's, but this time, we actually are going to add all these up. We'll still get 6 times 2 is 12, plus 7 is 19 O's. I'm going to write that just so I don't forget. But this time we have a 1 O right here, so we actually can cut that out first, meaning we only have to deal with 18 O's with this O2. And what goes into 18 twice? The answer would be 9. It'll be 9O2, and that will mean this is a 1. And if we double check, 6 C's, 6 C's, 13 plus 1 is 14 H's, 7 times 2 is 14 H's, 1 O plus 9 times 2 is 18, that's 19 O's, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 7 is 19 O's. And then 1, 9, 6, and 7 cannot be reduced. So we are good. We have the answer to our problem. All right. These can be a little tricky only in the balancing stage. The predicting part, once you get the idea that it's a combustion and so you know exactly what it's going to make, they're usually pretty easy. In the meantime, though, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Otherwise, this is Mr. Diamond signing off. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.